Don't worry.
So our goal will be to focus as intently as we can in each moment of the presentation, listening to the sound of when each word ends and the space between them. It's all yours.
It's all yours now.
Did you get up the handout?
No? Should we do that?
We should do that, yeah.
Oh shit. Table by table handout.
That's the thing that's going to be emailed to you.
It's for sharing, it's quite long.
It's quite long.
So we are presenting on Fight Club. I can introduce myself as Jack Durden. And I'm an American male, single, early 30s. No known family contact. My dad left really early. I work in the claims department for an insurance company. And I self-medicate with alcohol and cigarettes. Haven't been to treatment that I can remember. Before this began, I had a depressive episode. I was super dissatisfied with the mundane repetitions of life. That's where Tyler came in. I had 6 weeks of insomnia, narcolepsy. I had to sing for catalog shopping. I had to have it. What kind of diving set defines me as a person? Work wasn't stimulating or rewarding. My job was to basically apply the formula. Dressed in business, casual, eyes blank, sunken with exhaustion, face, body covered in bruises. Just recently emerging from amnesia, an episode, still connecting the dots. There's multiple alters, lost time, and events. Intellect is still intact, delusions on reality, my personal identity, as well as masochistic behaviors, fighting, enjoying the pain, glorifying the pain. After fighting everything else in your life but the volume turned down, you could deal with anything. You weren't alive anywhere but there. I had it all. I've got different identities that I'm hallucinating, apparently. Honestly, too many to know for sure at this point. Some well-known ones are Tyler, Marla, Bob, and essentially each alter is exactly what I need them to be.
What do you need?
I just need to fight.
Oh yeah? Hit me. Ow! Oh damn, that was good. Now I feel like I'm alive. Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm also a 30-year-old white American male. And I hate this corporate life we're living. Capitalism has ruined everything. Some say I'm a little on edge, but who wants to be a deadbeat like that? Oh, I tell you, my mind is rolling every single day. Rolling. And I don't sleep 1 hour a day. Only 1 hour a day. That's all you need. There's so much to do. So much to see, right, Mom? Sure. Some say I have antisocial personality disorder. But, in my defense, all the buildings we blew up were evacuated. And there was EMTs and policemen and firefighters standing by. For the Liberator has destroyed my property and has realigned their perception. No. Listen, do me a favor. Just listen, just breathe for a second. Because oxygen will get you high. Ooh, I tell you, Martha. Get rid of her. And as a rule, don't mention me in front of her.
I'm Marla. I'm in my mid-30s. Single, obviously. You met Tyler already. He's around occasionally. They gave me a mental test this other week, and I mean, I didn't really see the point of it. It was easy, but what are you trying to get at? I know where I am, what day it is. What I don't know is when this is going to end. They like to say that I have major depressive disorder. I just say I'm never not depressed. Where do I find pleasure? Tell me. Where do you find pleasure? What is pleasure? What's the point of being here anyway? I don't abuse my Xanax unless I'm trying to get out. Sleep? That only comes when I create it. Sometimes they'll say I also have persistent depressive disorder. I guess I've had low energy for about 7 years now. Self-esteem? I get that from Tyler.
Fuck yeah.
Somebody also said I have something called borderline personality disorder. I mean, they kept asking about my relationships, and like I said, you met Tyler. I guess he's the only one. Sometimes I run into oncoming traffic, but who doesn't? I get so angry that people try to put me in a box. I guess it's something about the empty rattle I hear when I'm close to death that scares the doctors. And then they keep mentioning this dissociative identity disorder. Apparently I'm not always me. Can you blame me? Sometimes I lose hours or days, but those are the happy times. So I guess the doctor said I need treatment. Something about therapy and potentially medication. They want me to exercise, but I told them that's what I have sex for. Something about integrating identities, I don't even know what they mean, but whatever, if you want to give me medication, maybe I'll be into it. I guess going to my own group could be alright. But fuck a job, and I already have a place to live.
Fuck this. Let's blow this place up.
Fuck this.
Oh wait, we are
We are
Raymond,
Bob
Jack,
and Marla,
Chloe.
Bob, Chloe.
and we have
Dissociative
identity disorder.
Identity disorder. Among other things.
Stay?
Yes, stay.
Okay.
This is question.
Oh yeah, there may be many questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Who here has seen Fight Club?
Good.
Sweet. Okay.
I always have a million questions. I'll ask for.
Oh wait, before we officially end,
Yeah.
I just want to say that this was based off an interpretation of a movie, and which could go a lot of different ways. So this is based off of our interpretation of this movie, and we didn't have a lot of background information, like biopsychosocial, a lot of that stuff we didn't read. So.
But for a basic premise, we did do quite a bit of research, and it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So if you have questions.
Which is kind of why we went the character route, but yeah,
Who here has seen Fight Club?
everyone.
Yeah, I'm sure
Poor Ariel.
people
Which is okay, so you know.
Okay.
Nice to know someone. Yeah.
Questions, comments for our panel of experts? I've seen this interpreted different ways where there's only two identities, and then I've seen it larger. It seems like you've chosen to feel that it's a group of identities.
Everyone is an alter in this movie, essentially, is what we went with. But it's interesting because that's not how I went into this with the group. I was very set on like the narrator, Jack, being the main real character and Tyler not being real. But we got into this like crazy wormhole. My mind was blown, and yeah, this is kind of where we went.
So essentially, so there's a website on our sources. It's called jackdurden.com, and that gives a lot of information, although we still kind of took a different lens than that, but it's very close to ours. Essentially, they're saying like Bob, if anybody remembers Bob, the guy with the huge boobs, they're saying that he could be an alter that is Jack post-testicular cancer. And that Marla could be him when he's like trying to, after he has testicular cancer and he feels like he's more feminine, and like when they go to the thrift shop, they're thinking that he actually buys that dress. So when Marla puts it on and says, "You can borrow this," it's already his.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like,
yeah. I tried honestly not to go too far down other avenues of the videos. There's a ton of videos out there diagnosing this movie, but I was really hung up on the DID or the schizophrenia or like schizoaffective. That's where like not having enough information came into play. But yeah, it was really cool to take all the quotes, because we just basically had all these quotes that kind of formulated our idea, and which is why the characters came into play too. But using that to kind of diagnose based off of things that they said, given that we would only base it off of what a client would say too in therapy, among other details that we didn't have in this scenario. But yeah, it was fun. Clearly we had fun.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Thoughts about treatment approaches for DID, or for Jack in particular, or whoever you identify as the host. That's the current.
Yeah, so Brittany shared a little bit on the treatment for DID, but really
It wasn't very clear.
But an attempt to integrate the personalities really is the goal. The Barlow book kind of said that there's not that much conclusive research saying how effective that is, but that's really the goal right now, is integrating those personalities, like bringing them into consciousness and integrating them into life, identifying cues and triggers to provoke and neutralize the alters. And even hypnosis was mentioned to access the unconscious memories and to access and integrate the alters. But also another piece would just be like recalling what happens in states of amnesia and stuff like that you don't remember, or when a particular alter's like taken over. And then for major depression, because that was a common thread between two of the alters, I actually forgot to do that in my part, I just remembered, but mentioning mindfulness-based approaches and like Jack being super against that was part of my thing that I totally spaced out. But like antidepressant medications, electroconvulsive therapy, even like different forms of light therapy, which I didn't know was a thing, but that was pretty cool. Yeah. Anything else you guys heard?
Whatever works.
Well,
yeah, right? Especially with, I guess, like medication-resistant depression or whatever they call it.
I got really into, because of this idea that different alters can like have different disorders and whatnot.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I really was like getting into this borderline personality, and that was the McWilliams book, was talking about therapy with borderline clients, and that fascinated me because it was saying that like you need to have really good boundaries, tolerate emotional intensity, and like kind of be no bullshit, but also like sometimes I think this one maybe was where humor would be good, but it was really, really interesting talking about that, because they were saying that like DBT would be good, and then these other ones, mentalization-based, transference-focused, and schema-focused would be good, but like you kind of have to know them from that lens, so like not everything's gonna work.
And with the destruction and the antisocial personality disorder, that treatment is hard. Group treatment can be effective, but in that setting, criminals or individuals who are seen as antisocial can learn how to be better at being antisocial. So that's one of the things that can happen with that. But there can be tremendous healing in groups where the person is alone and isolated and they put up all these facades. From a transpersonal lens, if you take the script and you kind of rearrange the words of things and you kind of take it out of context, a lot of what is said is like almost a paraphrase from Trungpa. in some way, about destruction, about rebirth, about letting go, and about embracing something new. And it would take a really good defense attorney, but I'm sure that you could argue a spiritual emergency is occurring with this individual.
It's a way typically of making sense out of and surviving severe and intense early childhood trauma. It's seen as a coping mechanism.
The DID.
DID, yeah.
So I have.
Just dissociate to get out of the trauma and the memories of it.
I haven't seen this movie in probably over a decade, but I guess you're reminding me of it, and I think I left the movie thinking that every Jack was all of the characters, but you mentioned that your perception might not be that, and I'm just curious of just what
You're
that
the best person to explain that, I think.
Why?
Because you're the one that changed my mind.
How did you get our impression that we don't think Jack is all?
Because didn't you say you
No,
said
yeah.
a wormhole? And
So basically, my idea was that Jack was real and Tyler was fake.
right, that was mine too.
But Tyler is real and Jack is not real.
Oh yeah, because we're flipping the lens on that a little bit and saying that because there's a theory that Jack was invented for Tyler to have somebody that was like business and normal, so that he could. Yeah, and there's also a theory that he needed that to create a victim role, so that what he was doing, what Tyler was doing, he felt like he was allowed to do because he had this victim role over here. So like, there's a theory that Tyler's the real one, and they present it from Jack because they're trying to fuck with you. So like, it's really confusing because they're presenting it from the narrator, who we're saying is not even a real person.
And is that something that you came to on your own, or was it like, I don't know, do you think that's, I just haven't seen the movie
Well,
in a while.
Andrew brought it up to us, and then we went into it.
Well, also,
There's a lot of resources online.
well, and so at the end of the movie, Jack, Tyler has a gun in his hand, and Jack is like, oh wait, I have the gun in my hand. And suddenly it's in Jack's hand, and he puts it in his mouth and shoots himself, the bullet going out like the backside of his face. And it has this whole like ripple effect where it doesn't really seem like it actually happened. And then Tyler falls down dead and has a gunshot wound in the back of his head. But, so the idea is that Tyler died because he was a real person. And Jack is like standing up, watching like all the buildings explode around him, and he's just
With
like,
Marla.
yeah, and their little cult group was like, I can't believe he's standing up, like, what the hell?
And at the
So
beginning,
that's what flipped my idea of like, oh shit, maybe Tyler was real the whole time because he actually died.
yeah, and at the beginning he says, I knew because Tyler knew. And like when
Yeah.
he does the burning of the hand, like Tyler's was done first.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think there's an answer to this.
No,
It's just
and
interpretations.
also the idea too is that we want to leave you confused like the movie did.
But I think what I like about this is so much, and often in clinical work, we want to have the answer. And that often is just living ongoing questions within ourselves and often with our clients.
Yeah.
And do you ever really know the truth about what's happening with your client? Which you probably will never.
Right.
Do we ever know the truth what's happening with us?
Right? Well, even trying to figure this out was like, okay, wait. I had to keep being like, you don't actually know. You don't actually know. You don't actually know.
One last, I think part of in the research, being able to tolerate ambivalence and uncertainty as a therapist helps your clients, and I think Naropa really overdoes that on you all. But let's have one last question or comment, and then let's have the other group sign in. Who's the other group? Are they doing a PowerPoint or not a PowerPoint?
Nope.
Okay. So final question on Fight Club.
I guess I'm a little confused with the diagnosis. Maybe it's because of the movie plot, and I haven't seen it in a long time too. But with the multiple personalities, did you cover that in the diagnosis, or were you just taking each person and doing a different diagnosis for them?
Who wants to answer that?
We diagnosed each of them with
Okay.
DID.
Okay.
So, sorry if that
Well,
was
each individual one has a like slew of diagnoses, and we all ultimately, because like he's the real person, so like we're the alters of that person, and each alter can have like different.
But what would that diagnosis be then? Like,
For him,
yeah, for Tyler.
Dissociative identity disorder.
That's the dissociative part, having multiple personalities.
But then also antisocial potentially antisocial for the main character, but
Yes.
some people seem to have diabetes and certain identities and not diabetes, and other identities that speak different languages. I've only seen this a handful of times in my own career, and only worked for an extended period once with a client with DID, so it's fairly rare. But I think this idea of mindfulness and bringing the other identities into awareness and integrating and regulation, all these kind of key concepts of mindfulness therapy are akin to the best practices. If that's kind of vague and quick. Well, let's have the other group go.
Maybe it will be helpful to know that DID used to be called multiple personality disorder, and now it's officially being changed.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna ask if